Hi, this is Pastor Cat coming back to you with your 5-minute devotion. Well, Christmas is over and we are heading into the new year, and people are looking at next year and setting up their resolutions. I have one for you. How about you and I both look at our personal sanctification? You may be asking, what in the world is sanctification? It's this big theological word, and one of my favorite quotes that regards sanctification comes from Thomas A Kempis, and it says, Jesus has now many lovers of the heavenly kingdom, but very few bearers of his cross. Now, not only did Kempis write Imitation of Christ, one of the greatest personal theology books of all time, but man, can he wear a hat. Check that out. I covet that. I could never pull that hat off. Well, anyway, when you break down his quote, it's actually fairly simple. It's that everyone loves the love of Christ, yet when it comes to bearing the cross and laying your life down, that's when it gets tricky. So my verse in regards to sanctification, that is becoming more and more like God all the time, that your holiness grows and your sinfulness falls apart. I'm going to point us to Romans chapter 12, verse 1. I'll put it on the screen here. It says this, therefore I urge you, brethren, we have to stop. Therefore means you have to go back a verse. So the verse that comes before is actually in chapter 11. It says, from him and through him and to him are all things. To him be the glory forever. Amen. Then it says, Romans 12:1, therefore I urge you, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies a living and holy sacrifice, acceptable to God, which is your spiritual service of worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you can prove what the will of God is, and that which is good and acceptable and perfect. One of my favorite verses of all time, Romans 12:1, is urging us by the mercy of God to present our bodies as living sacrifices, holy and acceptable to him. Now here's the key. When we talk about sacrifice, we are talking about our living body being sacrificed. The people he was speaking to, this is Paul of course, the people he was speaking to in Romans would have understood what sacrifice was. That is a sacrifice that would die upon the altar. Here we're called to be a living sacrifice, one that gives themselves freely to God. And then he calls that our spiritual act of worship. So often we think of worship, we think of prayer time, or we think of maybe singing along with guitars and piano. However, our sacrifice to the Father, that is the worship he is looking for. Now, if you do that, verse 1, then you get to verse 2. Do not be conformed to this world, be transformed by that renewing of your mind, so you can prove what the good, perfect, acceptable will of God is. You know, what I love so much about that is this is a daily and a passive thing, a thing that happens to us, that when we worship God in sacrificial ways, and we aren't conformed to the world, but are choosing to be more like him and less like us, then we will be transformed. Our mind will be renewed. That, in very simple terms, is sanctification. So this year, when you're looking to 2019, I encourage you, I implore you to consider what it is God's been doing in your life and how you have been changed through it. How is your sanctification going? Let me know in the comments below. Love to hear about it. If you're having a struggle in that regard, I'd also love to join in prayer with you, so let me know. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Love you guys. God bless. I'll see you next week.